This conference will now be recorded.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we need approval of the November 7th meeting minutes. That's where we get the two resolutions, 115-324 for the 2023 Montana Central Region Hazard Mitigation Plan, and resolution number 16-2024 to appoint Whitney Bunday as Special Deputy County Attorney. And both of these were approved, attested. Is there any corrections, additions to the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 7th meeting. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Number 2, we are here to canvass the 2024 general election. Oh, what?
Number 1.
Number 1. Extension. Oh, shoot. Yes, sorry. Number 1, consider a FY 2025 extension service agreement between Montana State University and Tweed County. This is the formality we do every year with our extension agent.
I make a motion we approve the service agreement between MSU and Toole County. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, now we'll canvass the 20 general election. Everybody has the packet in front of them. We brought it in.
The first thing in your file is the abstract of votes. This is the canvas that is produced by the Computer Secretary of State's software. And these are the results that we entered into the system that night. The second thing is the canvas of writing candidates. We had some declared candidates for president and for U.S. Senate, and Riley Neal in Toole County received 3 votes as a writing candidate. Those have to be separate on this. They're 2 separate deals.
Okay.
The next thing you have is the summary of the results for the county that comes off of the laptop. And the one after that is the same summary of the results broke down by precinct. The first one is county-wide votes. The second one is by precinct. And then the last thing you have is the spreadsheet that we keep track of all the votes on that we enter into there. It has the provisional votes on there. It also breaks it down by percentages of absentee ballots, poll ballots.
So Treva,
And all those numbers have to match.
can you explain briefly all the stuff you do? Like you test the machine, you do the audit, you do the hand count, then you get all that for the record.
Yep.
Yeah.
First, we test the machines as soon as we get the media. I have a box out there that's nothing but test ballots.
Okay.
And then there are also the tapes that come out of the machine, the test tapes. We do a spreadsheet when vote those ballots. We fill in a strategical manner the votes on that ballot and then tally them on a spreadsheet ourselves before we ever put them through the machine. When we put them through the machine, then we print out the test tape, and then we take that test tape and we go back and compare it to our hand count that we did of those test ballots to make sure that the tape is the exact same numbers as the hand count we did of those test ballots. I probably have 20 of these tapes back there from different tests that we did and the test ballots. We also test the ballots that you can do on the express vote machine where those are for handicapped people, but anybody can use them. We do a certain amount of ballots and we vote them to run them through our TS200s to test them to make sure that they're reading them correctly. Then we test it by taking the encrypted thumb drive out of those machines, put that encrypted thumb drive into a hardened laptop that is not connected to the internet. That hardened laptop is what produces these reports. We have test reports to make sure those test reports say what our spreadsheet says and what these say. Everything is double, triple checked. Then before the election, on the morning of the election, we're test those machines again to make sure that there's nothing happening that's going on with them. They're all sealed up. We have to test those and the express votes again to make sure that they're running properly. Test 10% of them. I'm a small county. Every express vote gets tested and every 200 gets tested, which is 3 of those, 5 of the other. We test everything that morning when election judges come in for our public testing so that they know how to run those express votes and they know how to test those ballots in the morning. And then clear everything off and clear everything on the laptop before we start our count for that night. That was the incident you hear happened in New Mexico. Someone forgot to clear the test results from the laptop before they started the count of the election. So those votes got incorporated with the election results, and of course has started all sorts of committees and legislation and things like that. And it was a human error, which happened. Then after the election, we go through the tapes and we put them into the computer and results tab for the Secretary of State's office. The Secretary of State then uploads that to the public website where you guys can get the results. After that is done, then we go through those tapes, these tapes right here, one by one, and look at the upload that was put to make sure that the number on this tape is the number that is on that public website and is on the Secretary of State site. Then after that, we enter those numbers into our spreadsheet to make sure that those numbers all coincide. We can look at the Secretary of State site and make sure that we had 2,068 people that voted. That's what we have here, that's what they have there. Then after that, on the Monday after the election, but this year it was a holiday, so the Tuesday after election, we were able to, we had 15 provisional ballots at the polling places. Provisional ballots usually at the polling places are because somebody lost their absentee ballot, they decided they didn't want to vote their absentee ballot for whatever reason. They vote a provisional ballot at the polling place, and then provisional ballots come up here. We check and make sure that they didn't already send us back their absentee ballot, and we rectify those the night of the election. The other provisional ballots are people that come into my office on election day and register to vote. They may have lived here for 6 months, but never transferred their voting record. So we pull them from another county in the state and do ours and make them a provisional voter so that their vote isn't counted until after 3 o'clock that day, until everybody in every county works their provisional and puts their registers in to give people credit for voting. So we can see that that person went and voted at the poll in Glacier County and registered as a provisional with us, which we didn't have any of those. All 15 of our provisional ballots were accepted. We had 2 ballots that were not accepted in this election, and both of them were, one we could verify a signature and one there was no signature. Those people were sent a letter and they were called and spoken to, and they knew about these, and they never did anything about them. And they actually have until 5 o'clock on the day after the election to rectify that mistake. And those people never did.
Well,
And then after the election, you get a committee together.
But then we have to have the audit committee after the Secretary of State rolls the dice and decide what we're going to audit. So it used to be we audited one federal race, one state race, one initiative, now it's two of it. This time we audited two federal races, president, U.S. Senator, superintendent of public instruction, clerk of Supreme Court, CI 127, CI 128, and House District 18. We audited all of those in the Devon Galata precinct and Shelby City precinct. With the audit of those two precincts, we audited by hand and hand counted over 66% of the ballots that were cast in this election. It took us from 9 o'clock Friday. We quit at 5:20 Friday night. We zoomed again on our Thursday, till 5:15, 5:20 on Thursday night. We started again at 9 o'clock in the morning on Friday, and we were done at 11:30. Now 66% of our ballots. And these are their hand count results. These are the forms that I have to send to the Secretary of State. Those are the hand counts for Devon Galata. Of course, Shelby City had to be much bigger because I needed more lines for each race. But then I was able to shrink them so I could still scan them to the Secretary of State's office. And now we're canvassing the election.
And you didn't have any problems at all this year.
We had no problems whatsoever. Everything went very smooth. We were actually done by 11 o'clock that night. Jackie and I stayed and we were still checking numbers, but that was just the triple time of checking.
what percentage of people voted? That's pretty high.
77.14%
Oh,
in
it's on
King
that
County.
one sheet.
It's on that summary
Oh,
of
okay.
your election. I think that the thing that I always look at, because it always impresses me, is 87.17% of all absentee ballots mailed out were returned.
Really?
And in Devon Galata, they have 45 people that are registered as poll voters. 39 voted.
No,
So they only had 16 poll voters that didn't vote. This is on that spreadsheet,
Oh,
right there on the last page of the spreadsheet. That always impresses.
Well,
And
so many people are absentee voting.
Galata had a 92% on their absentees that returned their ballots. So did Keene.
Yeah.
The lowest percentage of absentees that were returned was the city of Shelby, and that was only 85%. But still, that's a lot. And as your poll voters, even in the city of Shelby, poll voters didn't have as great a turnout. They were 54 and 58% of those people that are registered to vote at the poll who actually voted at the poll.
do you know if any of these undeliverable ballots, if the people came in to vote, there's probably no way to know whether.
They can't vote unless they come in and rectify their undeliverable ballot.
Oh,
And when you have an undeliverable ballot, it's because you've changed your address
right,
and you haven't let us know that.
right.
So we send them a letter and we call them.
Yeah, yeah.
And so then they can come in and they can fill out a new voter registration card and we will hand them their ballot. And we have some that come back that have done that.
Oh, yeah.
These undeliverable are just the ones that weren't rectified.
Okay.
And that was 25 of them, which is a very low number, a
Right.
very low number of people.
So then, how long do you have to keep all these records?
I have to keep these records for 22 months,
Okay.
sealed.
Mm-hmm.
They're all sealed and I have to keep them for 22 months.
Yeah. So, did you have it in public attend, like while you were counting or?
We had a poll watcher on election day at the Civic Center,
Right.
and we had 2 poll watchers here the day before the election. And we were supposed to have poll watchers here. I'd received an email telling me that they were sending poll watchers for the counting, but nobody came.
Okay.
Yeah, nobody came. The two poll watchers that I had here the day before the election, they were from Maryland.
Wow. Were they happy with it? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have complaints about it.
They were surprised at how many people we had in that morning registering to vote and figuring out if we still had their absentee and came back undeliverable.
Oh,
They were amazed at the amount of people that were in there on Monday morning until noon because afternoon they can't. But they were amazed by that, and then we received our ballots from the mail that morning, and they watched Tony process the signatures
Sure.
on the envelopes, and one of them had never seen that before.
Oh.
So they watched her process of checking everybody's signature. There was one that wasn't signed. They watched her call that person. She printed out the letter to send that person, and before they left, that person came up and signed their ballot.
Oh,
So they liked watching that process because the one had never seen that before.
right.
Good, maybe they can take it, that information back to their own state. Right?
Interesting.
Does anybody else have any questions or concerns about this canvas?
No, you asked them all.
Huh?
That's good information, though.
I wanted to be on.
Yeah. Mhm.
So you guys at the Canvas board are checking the numbers.
Right,
You guys are just checking the numbers.
it's just, almost like a formality,
It's like a 4th step of checking them.
and I do know for a fact that we wouldn't have these if they were correct.
You wouldn't have them if they didn't all match because there'd be a problem
And that's what
somewhere.
we did. All of us went through and made sure all the counts equaled everything on the paper. We're just verifying that, which they do.
So how many different types of counts are there? There's the machine count, there's your spreadsheet, must be like 3 or 4 different types.
Four.
And there's the audit count on them. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like at least 4 different
There's
verifications.
a machine count, then it goes into the laptop and you're verifying that those numbers in the laptop are the exact same numbers that came off the machine. Then it goes to the Secretary of State. Then they put it on their public thing and
If you put it on that spreadsheet, there's another one.
I put it on this
So
spreadsheet.
there's another one. I mean, I just never knew.
Most counties do some sort of a spreadsheet.
I mean, I had no idea that it went through that many types of processes.
That's why, it's really hard when people tell us that there's fraud in our elections because with all this,
It wouldn't add up. And then
exactly.
If it did, you'd have trouble.
Well, it would not, well, I am not the only one that does these numbers.
Right,
I have Jackie enter numbers into the state site. I have, Tony deal with the absentee part of it. Jackie enters these numbers into this spreadsheet, and then I go through those numbers, and then I add the numbers on the back, on the bottom there, the percentages and stuff. It's not one person, it's a multitude of people that are doing this. I don't run ballots through the machines. Tony and Jackie Habits run the absentee machine. The Civic Center for the city of Shelby and Shelby Rural, that machine is over there. And then even Sunburst, Bobby runs the ballots through that machine. This is the provisional because then once we rectify our provisionals, we run them through the machine also. So this is the actual final one, all the provisional ballots on it. I had Jackie run through the machine as I was standing there. So it's a combination of a check and balance, everybody doing. It's not just one person that would be able to do anything.
Can you explain again what they overvote and undervote deal?
An overvote is the race that you can vote for one and you filled in two ovals. Or you filled in one oval, then in a write-in line and filled in that oval.
Oh,
That's an overvote. An undervote is when nobody filled in anything for that race.
oh,
They didn't fill in any ovals for that race, whether it was a write-in or candidate or anything. They didn't fill in any for that race. That's an undervote.
so if it's an overvote, then that doesn't get counted.
No,
If it's an undervote, it doesn't
it
affect.
gets counted as an overvote, but the
Right.
person they filled in the oval for, that doesn't get any, but they don't get any votes.
They don't get
But it
credit.
gets counted as an overvote. Undervote gets counted as an undervote. And a write-in, even if it isn't a declared write-in, gets counted as a write-in. Because then I know how many ballots we had that were voted. And that number matches up everywhere. Except when you go to the study commission for the city of Shelby, you will have a ton of undervotes in that because it was a vote for 3.
Oh,
But no other race, if you go to the second to the last page on my spreadsheet,
oh,
there were 3,522 undervotes for that because it was a vote for 3 races.
Right.
And then there was the write-in people that wrote people in. But you can see in each one of those other columns, there's 2,068 ballots. We had 2,068 ballots.
Right.
So every race had 2,068 people voting, whether they voted for a person, whether they didn't vote for anybody, whether they voted for too many people, or whether they did a write-in. There was 2,068 ballots.
the study commission had a different number though, 3,600?
Because it was for 3.
three.
You
Oh,
voted
okay.
for 3. So each one was an undervote of 3.
And then some people would put 2 people down, or what?
One.
As a write-in or whatever. There were no declared candidates on there. There
Oh,
was no reason for that to be on the ballot whatsoever.
oh,
But I gave the city of Shelby the opportunity, like I did the city of Sunburst, to not have it on the ballot, and their attorney just wanted to see what would happen.
oh. So all of these are write-ins.
They're write-ins where nobody wrote anything down,
Oh,
because nobody knew why it was on the ballot. The people voting didn't know why it was on the ballot. There was nothing about it mentioned by the city, and there were no declared write-ins for people that filed for the position. Your guys' names were on the write-ins for those races.
oh,
Right up there with Vicki Mouse and
Oh,
Donald
yeah.
Duck and
And
some city.
Daryl Williams.
Mm-hmm.
so there was nobody that filled in the oval with no name. There was no overvote.
No. You
Which
couldn't
was-
have overvoted.
You can't overvote,
No. You couldn't
because
have
there was only
overvoted.
3 lines.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
I
couldn't have
understand.
overvoted that way.
Okay,
Most people just didn't vote anything or do anything there.
oh.
So has everybody had a chance to, review any questions? Any more questions? Well, then I would like to, to certify this canvas.
I'll make a motion to buy the 2024 canvas. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.